It is May 21st and it's a beautiful day. It's about 75 degrees and it's 11:30 in the morning, and I just briefly wanted to walk through my container garden here. I get a lot of questions about the container garden. I think container gardening is a wonderful way to get started in growing your own herbs, your own vegetables, a lot of different things. And so I get a lot of questions, and I thought I would just address them in one video, and I will include links to previous videos. Those of you who are new to my channel, who are new subscribers, these may be videos you might be interested in. If you see a video, just click on it. It will open in a new window. You'll need to pause it and then come back to finish watching this video. But you can watch them after this, okay? So I guess most of the questions that I get about my container garden are the pots. People want to grow their own vegetables and their herbs, but they don't know where to start as far as pots. And you don't want to make a mistake like I did. Try to learn from my mistakes. I personally think the terracotta clay pots are a mistake. I know I'm going to probably offend people out there. I have not had a good experience with them, though. I think they would be great for succulents. But for my purposes, I've grown with terracotta pots. I've had a container garden now for about 6 years. I just add a couple of pots every year, so that's why you see so many here. That's another point I want to make. Don't try to go out and just have a huge container garden. It can be expensive, but just add a little bit every year, and then eventually you'll have a lot of things that you can enjoy. But back to the pots. So I grew with the terracotta clay pots. I grew those in zone 8B, which was in North Florida. Very hot, humid location. Everything I grew in those pots dried up. I had to continually water them. And I found the same thing here. So I went through a lot of things as far as trying to seal them, so they would stop drying out, because the idea with a clay pot, the reason why it's a good pot, or supposed to be a good pot, is because it's porous and it allows air to get in and out of the pot and to the roots and that kind of thing. So that's why I purposely bought terracotta pots, but it didn't really work out for me. So I switched over slowly. Instead of buying more of those pots, I started buying these little plastic pots, and I purposely shopped on the internet to find dark orange so it would kind of just blend in with the rest of my containers. So I think I bought like 20 of those at one time, because it would reduce the shipping and that kind of thing. And so that was a good place to start. I forgot the name of the place where I ordered them from, but you can usually buy a bulk quantity online, and the shipping's not a lot, but at least you'll have the pots there and they'll all match as you continually add on to your container garden. Okay, so those are 2 pots. So far the plastic ones have been working great for me. This one right here has been out in the sun and the weather all for 2 years, so it's faded. So that one's lost a lot of its color. But the one behind it, I've kind of kept it inside and moved it around in and out, and it's still holding its color. So that's something you'll have to be concerned with if you have buy those kind of pots. Plus, they're not going to last forever. For instance, this is a black pot. You see how it's broken the rim there. It's starting to crack. I'll probably be able to use this for 1 more year. And then my kaffir lime tree, the pot here, it has completely cracked too. Now I have to move this around a lot because I have to move it in and out of my house. And you know, they get brittle. I had one when I was living in Florida that this tree was in, and it completely broke moving it in and out of the house. It shattered, and it was plastic. It had just been worn out and was just brittle, and I had a mess to clean up. So, but I could not get anything heavier than this. There's no way that I could put this tree into a heavy pot because I've got to move it in and out of my house. So that's something else you'll have to be concerned with. Is the plant that you're going to grow, is it hardy in your area? Are you going to have to bring it in and out of your house? A lot of these containers, I have to move them into my garage that has a south-facing window, because that's where it gets continuous sun exposure. If you have a south-facing window in your house, you'll want to move your containers into that area of your house so that they can overwinter until it's safe to bring them back outside again. Because a lot of plants, they will die once it gets below freezing. So you have to, be careful about those plants and take care of them and move them around. So there's a lot of plants here. I stay very busy when when it's time around our frost dates. Your frost dates are something that you can look up on the internet, and it will tell you what's called a first frost date and a last frost date. Those are the times you have to really start moving your pots around and looking at what you're growing. For instance, basil would not make it through the winter. That would not make it. Thyme normally does. I've had some thyme over winter, okay, but this year it got below 0 in my area. And I lost my thyme plants that were in containers. I should have taken those inside my garage with my other plants. So if it's something you really want to grow, move it inside and protect it during the frost time. And I knew I really wanted to grow my French tarragon, so I didn't risk that. I did move it to my garage, and it came back, and it's doing really well this year. A lot of your perennial plants are the ones that will return every year. For instance, this echinacea, that French tarragon, the mint that you see behind it, which did survive the winter. The basil is not a perennial, so it's an annual. It will die this year, and I will plant it again from seed next year. That's something that you can plant from seed. Your oreganos, your thyme, your rosemary, all of these are perennials that will return each year. But you may need to overwinter them in a safe area during the winter. Okay? Yes, you can grow lettuce in containers. Look at here. This is all grown from seed. This great big pot here, I just sprinkled some seed right out on top of it, and that was about 2 months ago, and you can see how big it is now. This is outrageous, and there's some in there also called sunset. Got a couple of those. Lemongrass is a wonderful little plant to grow in a container, and I have a video on that. I'll include a link to that video. That's a good plant because you can bring it inside during the winter, and then as spring approaches the following year, you can divide it down and have multiple plants from that one plant. Put one of these back in a container, and the rest can go in your yard. And you can continually grow that same plant just by dividing it and replanting it. And that's explained in my video, which I will include a link to. So you can grow, for instance, this is a pepper plant that I overwintered in my container and in my garage. In my area, I have a short growing season, so peppers don't do well for me. So I do have to put those in a container and bring them inside. And it took me a couple of years to learn that. And that's another thing about gardening. It's going to take you a little while to learn what does well. If you have a neighbor that gardens, neighbors or people that garden in your area are very helpful. They can tell you a lot of different things. I think my last frost date is around the end of April, but the people who know and the people that garden in my area say don't plant out until Mother's Day. So that's what I do. So listen to the people that have experience in your area. They're the ones that are good. I don't really start planting my tomatoes heavily until I see the farmers in the area plant out their fields. They have much more at risk than I do, so I know that they're not going to put things out if there's still a freeze coming. And last week we had temperatures into the mid-30s. Just last week, and today it's supposed to be 90. So you can still get some cold days here and there, even after your frost date. So I am going to be posting some videos soon on how you can take care of your herbs, specific herbs, and hopefully this will help you just get started. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and start a container garden today, maybe you don't want to spend a lot of money. You just want to see if you can grow something. Maybe you've never done it before. You could just take an old milk carton. I'm a big fan of reusing my milk cartons because I have a teenage boy who drinks about 3 gallons a week. I try to find a way to use these, and I'll include a link for other ways that I've used my milk cartons if you'd like to take a look at that. But you could just take it, cut off the top there. On the bottom, poke you some holes for drainage. You've got to have drainage in all of your containers. Make sure you do that. Get you a little bag of some potting soil and some basil seeds. Basil seeds grow very fast. You're going to pay probably $2 for a basil plant. For a pack of basil seeds. You can sprinkle out your basil seed in there, water it real good, and in a few days they'll germinate. And of course, your soil does have to be very warm for that to germinate. In other words, just set it outside in some sun. Make sure that you put your basil in a sunny area. A lot of times if we have container gardens, we don't think about the sun exposure, but you have to think about how much sun your area is going to get. Okay, so you need to put it in a sunny spot. If you don't know the direction your house faces, or your deck, or wherever it is you're intending to put your container. Get a compass out, figure out the orientation of your house. I used actually the little gauge in my car. You know, at the top, a lot of the newer cars have the little, tells you if you're going north, south, east, or west. So I just turned it around to find out where my south window was. So that's a little shortcut trick you might can do there too, to figure out the south facing window. South facing, like I said, it's going to get a continuous exposure to the sun almost all day long, where your north is not. So you want to try to find somewhere that's south facing. If you don't, this right here is actually more of a southeast facing, my deck is. Okay, north and northwest is not a good area for your sun. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help you along. Basil, like I said, is a good thing to start growing. There's all kind of basils out there. If you want something that's going to return and is very hardy every year, that's a perennial, try a mint. Now, this is apple mint. Not digging the apple mint. It doesn't have a good flavor to me. It has a minty flavor, but it's not really minty like I like. I like a mojito mint is a good mint. Spearmint is a good mint. As a matter of fact, you might be able to taste your mint before you buy it. And if you're going to just buy an established mint plant, that's something that you'll want to buy already established, and don't try to grow it from seed. Or if you have a friend or a neighbor who grows mint, I'm sure they'll give you a cutting. You can get a little, if they give you a little snippet of a mint, take it inside, put it in a windowsill, and in a few, probably a week or so, you'll have roots popping out of it. Then you can put it in some soil, and you'll have you a mint plant right there. I'll include a link to how I organize my herbs and propagate them also, if you want to check that out. Okay, so that should get you started. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Other viewers may also have the same question, and I'll be more than happy to address it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.